first time here, so hope I don't faint. All right, so today I want to talk about it's okay to not know everything. What do I mean? Now I can't go to the next slide. One moment. All right. Yeah. So we have all been in this kind of situation where we start off somewhere and hours later we're in the point like, how did I get here? So last year I moved from a .NET world to Django. My first task was, I don't know, like just change the salary, split the salary queues, salary task into different queues. So 8 hours in, after a bunch of Command B clicks, and I'm looking at implementation for DjangoCon trib auth. How did I get there? So even Django cannot help with the deadlines if you're that kind of person. It's good to know, like, dig deeper into things, but you still have to find balance, right? So I tried to figure it out, like, why do I do this? And these are the three things I think I get into that kind of situation. I like to get a bigger picture. And then, like, we're all curious beings, right? Like, there's a joy in trying to discover new things. And when you have that aha moment. And then there's also the other aspect to it. Like, I get anxious if I don't know answer to everything. Like, I feel like an imposter. So, and I have been advised by many people that say things like, it's okay, you don't need to know everything, just get to the point, like, figure it out, you'll figure it out later. But I was always like, it's easy for you to say it, you already know things. Like, people usually I look up to say that. And then I had this one incident recently that actually helped put things, figure things out better. So that involves my little niece here. I know, she's so cute. She's 3-year-old, and she's just discovering about relationships. So she calls me Chiki, like in my language, it's aunt. So she goes, Chiki, you're my mom's sister. That's why you're Chiki. I'm like, yeah, that's right. So you and my mom are sisters. She's your sister, she's my sister. I mean, you're her sister, but she's my mom, and I'm not her mom. Like, it was beautiful watching her figure things out. Like, she hid all these set theories, like symmetric properties, all those things, right? I'm like, as she's figuring this out, I'm like, oh my God, wait a minute, I've been through this, and that didn't give me anxiety. We've all been through this learning process, and we turned out okay. Like, we know relationships now whenever we needed to know. So that made me think, it's okay, even if I don't know today, like, even if I don't know how everything works together, like, I don't know async, but someday I will when I need it. So some of the things I do to tackle this problem I have, like, stay focused, like eyes on the prize. Like, if you have a task, try to close the ticket. If you have time, great, work on it later. And I also set timers once every couple of hours. If I find myself like deep down in some random topic that from so far away from where I started, like, the timer is a good kick to go back and ask someone, like, I have this problem, like, it might be ego or like being judged or whatever, but being here last few days has taught me anything. Like, everyone's so kind. So just ask people and learn to let go until you cannot. Anyway, so, and also if anyone has any suggestions, and if you face similar struggles, please let me know how you do, like, how you deal with this. I would love to have a chat. Thank you.
So thanks to everyone who stopped by our booth or who filled out the survey online. We really appreciate that. So today I'm going to be sharing some of the results so far about our impact survey. So I've met many of you, but for those of you who I haven't met, I am Darcy Lee. I'm the VP of Strategic Growth and Partnerships at 6 Feet Up. Our mission is to make the world a better place by accelerating tech leaders' impact. You see the word impact a lot. This is my first DjangoCon, so it's been awesome. You guys are great. Had a really good time so far. So as Calvin mentioned in his talk on Monday, our impactful mission is to our clients focus on climate action, clean energy, and initiatives that benefit humankind. And we set to find out what you think is important. So here it is so far. You can see from the word cloud that what's important to you is climate change, inequality, education, energy, and water. So I'll leave that for just a second so you can take a look at it. So as Drew noted in yesterday's opening session, it's been increasingly challenging to find volunteers, and that's everything from your kids' soccer team to all volunteer board of directors, which I also sit on, so I hear the struggle. I was thrilled to read the results and see how each and every one of the people who responded to the survey are giving time, talent, and treasure to make an impact. So please keep volunteering, keep donating your time and your talents to make the world a better place. At 6 Feet Up, we're committed to completing 10 impactful projects defined as projects that are impressive, purposeful, and transformative by 2025. And so far, we've had the privilege of working on 5 impactful projects from space exploration, lightning strike predictions, forest fire management, genetic engineering, and battery energy storage. So we're well on our way to achieving that goal, and my goal is to completely blow that out of the water and surpass that. We also joined Pledge 1%. We've been supporting Kiva for several years, so we've granted over 800 loans and lent more than $22,000. Carol is on the Django Foundation board. We serve on the Plone Foundation board. Carol and I serve on the Women in High Tech board to support women in STEM. And as technologists, you have the opportunity to find solutions for complex challenges, and Django has the superpower to meet that need. I challenge you to be intentional about the projects that you work on and using technology for good and being impactful. So which organizations do you think are impactful? We tallied your results, and so far, no surprise, really. But so far, Django Software Foundation and Python Software Foundation are the most mentioned organizations. So you do have the ability to change these results. So we are going to be continuing to leave the survey open so that you can complete it. We will announce the winners of the 3 M4 devices at 3 o'clock, but we would still love to hear from you. Let's see. So here you go. There it is. Please take the survey. Visit our booth. You can scan the QR code, take it on your own. You can also take it at our booth, or you can take it online at 6feetup.com/impact survey. And so in addition, we'll be donating $200 to the most impactful, the organization most mentioned. Let's see. So anybody online and in person is invited to participate. Like I said, at 3 o'clock today, we're going to give away the final device, and we'll tally the final results, which we'll share in Slack. So in conclusion, whoa, I totally skipped down. In conclusion, with this being the final day of the conference, I'd love to hear the impact that you're making as well. So if you're here in person and you'd like to chat, feel free to come and visit the booth. And for those of you at home, you can find me on Slack at Darcy Lee. So thanks for everything you're doing to make the world a better place. I've heard some really great stories, and I know that I can tell we all really care. So let's use our talents to make the world a better place together. Thank you.
So do we have an impact on climate changes? Unfortunately, I'm not going to fix it for you. You are going to fix it for yourself. So to answer the question, it has been answered over and over and over. This is the first, or at least one of the opening sentences in the last IPCC report that explains that human influence has warmed the atmosphere, ocean, and land. And this is happening at a very, very rapid pace. I would encourage you to read the summary for policymaker. It's kind of a bit of an impressive document, but it's only a few dozen pages. And you can find it at IPCC report. There is 3 that has been published this year. The first thing to understand is actually the greenhouse gases emission is very, very unequal, and it depends per region and also per, I'm going to remove this. Much better. Per level of income. The richer you are, the more you are emitting. And this graph is showing that, for example, in North America, you emit twice as much if you are in the top 10% of income than top 10% of income in Europe, which at that turn emit 3 times more than people in Asia and Southeast Asia. What about us in the digital world? It's often referred as the seventh continent. It turns out that we are emitting 4% of the total greenhouse gases emission, and it's 2 to 3 times what a country like France would emit. 4%, you are going to tell me it's not that much. The problem is increasing. It's increasing at a breakneck pace. It has actually tripled in the last 15 years. And you need to notice that for IoT devices, it has been multiplied by 48 in the last 15 years. Where is this greenhouse gases coming from? This is an ordered list. So it's coming, first of all, from the phone, laptop, watch, and any other IoT devices or devices that you have at your home due to the manufacturing. And then it's power consumption. Power consumption of the equipment, network, and data center. Why power consumption? Is because when you actually produce electricity, you often burn fossil energy. And for a country like China, every kilowatt hour is generating 541 grams of CO2. For a country like USA, it's 358. And then there is countries which are lower in terms of carbon intensity. I pick up France, which is 58 grams of CO2 per kilowatt hour. But basically, you need to, it depends. And in order to get an impression of what the website can emit, you can directly install a plugin extension that is called Green IT that will tell you the level of greenhouse gases emitted by a website. So this one is 2 grams of CO2. 2 grams, is that a lot? I don't know, you will tell me. So this website is 110 million page views a year. That turned out to be 327 flights Paris-Los Angeles for an individual. So not neutral. How much do my data center emit? It should be easy because most of the cloud providers provide reports, carbon footprint reports. Turn out that these reports are often useless or full of greenwashing, displaced information that you cannot do much with. Hopefully it's going to improve. But what do we want to do? Because we want to reduce greenhouse gases, right? Especially if we want to respect the 2 degree or not to exceed 2 degree of increase. And I'm going to tell you that 2 degree is already a lot. But if we want to stay below 2 degrees, that means we need to decrease the number of emissions by 5% every year. Turns out that 5% is actually what we did in the past during COVID, the COVID year. So you need to do an effort equivalent to an additional COVID every single year. And there is a direct linear relationship between the temperature and the quantity of CO2 in the atmosphere. So if we don't want to overshoot this 2 degrees, which is a lot, and why it's a lot? Because between now, the temperature between now and what it was between the last glacial area, the only difference in temperature was 5 degrees. So please, work on decreasing the greenhouse gases emission of 5 degrees per year on whatever you are doing. And if you can exceed it, it's fantastic. Thank you very much.
This is my first time here. So I'm going to talk about the development of an artificial player for StarCraft 2 using case-based reasoning. A little bit about me. I'm from Uruguay. I'm a full-stack developer at Octobot. I'm also a teaching assistant at Catholic University of Uruguay. I'm a big soccer fan, too. About StarCraft 2 is a real-time strategy game where your objective is to defeat your enemy, building units and buildings, and you have like 3 important factions that you can choose to play with, like Terran, Protoss, and Third. The objectives of this project were to develop the artificial player, to defeat the easy-level AI from Blizzard, and evaluate the results to see whether the bot is good or not. A little bit about the structure. We have built 3 repos. The first one, called SC2 Wrapper, that wraps an API that Blizzard launched in 2017, I think. And it serves as a way of communication with StarCraft 2 and also exchange messages to obtain observations. Then we created another repo called Overmind that is for the logic, that has the logic for distribution of tasks and contains all the replace information that are like games from StarCraft in JSON. And we built an admin in Django in order to see that information. Then we created another repo called Overlord that processes received tasks and delivers results, just that. And the tasks are classify, process, and play. Here we have the overall structure, but I won't dig too much into that, so you can stop the YouTube video later. I'm gonna talk now about case-based reasoning. It's very simple. You receive like your situation, your new case, you have a case-based, and you compare that situation with the most similar case, then you reuse it, you have a proposed solution, you revise it, then you have the confirmed solution, and then you retain that case and that process all over again. This is our case component. It has different attributes, the observation that I will talk about it later, the games played, won, lost, and the actions, the list of actions in this situation, such as build, move, attack, train. Here is the observation object that has the game loop, that is the moment in the game, the player resources, minerals, spin gas, supplies, the units, and upgrades by active player. We use this distance equation. We have this two minerals function that converts attributes, that received attributes, and the quantity converts it to minerals. And we compare the case and the situation, and we do those operations. We used Pearson's chi-square test with the null hypothesis. There are no differences between observed and uniform distributions of won and lost games, and the significance is 5%. The draws and not finished games are excluded, and if null hypothesis is rejected and wins are over 50%, we will say that the CBR bot is better than the opponent. So here are some results, but if you see the last column, you can see that the win ratio is over 50% and the games, and the P, that is the significance, is over the significance that is 5%. So the conclusions for these projects were that it's possible to develop a competent artificial player with CBR, and this bot doesn't have a good strategy because it always do immediate actions and don't think on long-term goals. So I want to thank Marcelo Mandirola, Marcelo Sigardi, and Leonardo Val, who played a big role in this project too. Thank you.
Hi, I will tell about a bug that I found on Django, that Django cache was not thread safe. It was a cool finding that I had. It started when I tried to run WSGI with multiple threads, so I used 2 threads to start. It's to use better our server resource, and that started some big issues like that. That's a main cache failing. I have no idea why. So it looks like it's related with Django decorator cache page. So I started looking for how can I debug that. So Django has the 2 things. It has a cache and a cache options to use. So if you call cache and get anything there, it's okay because it's a connection proxy and it don't hold a connection. It knows how to change threads there. But when you do that, you're getting the default cache. That's the same one I was getting in the other way. And it holds a connection. And when I call this full function, I'm reusing the same connection, and it's not thread safe because my pylibmc is a C implementation, and it fails because it's not expected to be thread safe. Django that fixes that, handles that. And Django docs are awesome. The solution is there. So I learned it after everything failed. If you call the cache in the same thread, it reuse the same connection, and things are good. If I do what I was doing here, I'm calling caches default in one thread, and after that I reuse the same connection, it fails. So the right way to do that is this one. And okay, great, that's easy. I can do that. I don't need to change anything. I just need to follow docs, and looks easy, but not that easy. After I understand the problem, I found Django cashback was doing it wrong. Here is the initialize implementation. So they start their main, some singleton holding a catch. The way we learned it doesn't work. So I can fix it. I fixed my Django cashback fork. Django cashback is an awesome lib from Octopus guys. So I really like that. I fixed my fork, and I forgot to send a pull request to them. I sent it yesterday. Sorry. Oh, Hacktober is there. So okay, now okay, it's here. So I fixed that. I tried again, and I discovered that cache page failed for some reason, and that's it. It's trying to get a key, a broken key. I have no idea. It's totally broken. So I keep digging the Django code, and I found update cache middleware. Do the same thing. We hold the default cache there, or any cache you define for cache middleware alias. And after that, we use that everywhere. This is a bug that exists since 2010. Russell implemented it in the first cache backend for PyLibMC. And it exists since Django 1.3. We have that awesome docs. The docs are from 2014. And cashback decorator was never thread safe when you use of PyLibMC implementation. And it works for Python cache implementations because Jill save us all the time. I don't have time to try it. I fixed it's fixed for 4.1.
There you go.
And I have, you can try that. You just have to download this repository and run it.
Okay, today I'm going to talk about this project called Aire Libre. This, like if you were in my previous talk, that project was born from a place of love. This project was born from a place of spite. So this, I'm going to get there. Okay, motivation. First, the official motivation. In Paraguay and in many countries, you have like forest fire, large clandestine emissions, garbage burning, and insufficient control from the government. At least that is back home. And also you have this is IQ Air. That is a website to monitor the air quality. And as you can see, Paraguay doesn't have any sensors there. So that was the other motivation. And basically, we needed to answer this question. Is it healthier to go for a run or to stay at home? Because if the air quality is really bad, probably it's best staying at home. So what is Aire Libre? Aire Libre, it's a community that we are concerned about the health and quality of our life, and a network of sensors. what differentiates us from other initiatives. So now is the time that I'm going to speak about the SPITE. So there was this initiative that this guy did an amazing job putting a network of sensors. But everybody wanted to help, and he didn't want to help, and he wanted to sell their sensors for $5,000 or something. And that didn't sound right. Later, we found out that the guy was trying to gain a government contract for this. So we decide to ruin his plans. So we created like totally the opposite, like a community that use open data. Everything is open source because this guy was like more a fan of copyright than Oracle legal department. So we did the opposite. So I'm going to talk about a little about the hardware. We use a high precision laser dust sensor that in AliExpress costs something like $16. Yeah, $16. And the ESP8266 chip, it costs $2 or something. And the total cost, basically, it's $23. The firmware is also open source. It's there. And it's pretty cool because like you have like these captive portals. Like you just plug into the wall, and you get an Wi-Fi network to configure to everything, all the settings. And yeah, and basically it's so easy to solve this. And if you have never did any soldering, it's the most entertaining way to get a second-grade burn. So I totally recommend. Well, this is the graphic. Try to explain how it works. The sensors sends the information to the backend, and the apps get the information from the backend. We have like many projects. We have like the backend, the firmware, Twitter bot, and an Android app. And yeah, I'm going to show the links after that. Well, the backend, it's called Linka. It's a web service for data collection, and it has the documentation there and the repo. It's made on with Fast API, not Django. Sorry. And yeah, Linka because she was the Planeteer of the Wind. So the website, it's aire libre, like with .re. Funny thing about if you're going to buy this kind of domain, it's going to cost you more because if you're not a citizen of the European Union. So this is the website. We have like a lot of sensors. We also have dark mode in the website. Woohoo! We have a bot. Yeah, that tweets the air quality. This is the sensor, and this is the sensor working, basically. It's really simple. So this is the Telegram group. If you want to join us, or if you want to create something similar, you're more than welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
So microservice, they've been around for quite a while. And hopefully some of you guys are on a project maybe to convert one of your monoliths to it right now. Or better, or better still, maybe you are thinking about doing your next big project with it. Well, I got some news for you. It sucks. Maybe, hold on. What's a microservice? I think that is part of the problem, right? There's so many different definitions. This is the one that I like. A microservice has to be independently releasable. That means if you make a change, right, in dev, in staging, push it out of production, it just works. The rest of your app, the rest of your team doesn't have to worry about it. So when I poll my team to say, hey, what are the pain points? I get a long list. And today I'm only going to show you 3 of them. The first one is, where's the model when I need it? Right? A microservice, by definition, encapsulate its own data. So the data are separated, so you cannot easily join a model to another one across the surface. So that is a pain. And the question to ask at that point is, how clean is are my data boundaries, are my service boundaries. Problem number 2, this is a good one, is I'm working on microservice A uses B, so I'm going to pull down service A, which has 3 containers, and then service B has 4, and next thing you know, my Mac is kind of crawling to a halt. It is painful. The question I ask you is, do you really need to do that all the time? Last one, so kind of similar to the one before, right? By definition, services uses each other's by API. So if I'm working on service A, everything seems to work in development, heard that before, right? Get it to production, it doesn't work because somebody else changed the API without me knowing about it. So, question to ask, why aren't the APIs backward compatible? Are they versions? So there are ways around this. So, does microservice architecture suck? I really wouldn't say that, right? Maybe it is hard to do, which I hope you guys agree. But at the same time, it has a lot of benefits. So there is an equally long list of benefits. A couple that I think are important is that by definition, right, we're working on smaller independent units. That means we can make changes faster and ship things faster. And this is the one that if you need to sell it to your managers, your CXOs, right, this is the one that gets the most attention. Second, this is a mildly controversial one. Testing is in a way, is hard in microservice, but it's easier as long as you change your mindset as to how you test them. So to me, that is a benefit. And then lastly, it is maybe a byproduct of using microservice. Your teams then tend to get more and more decentralized. They work more autonomously over time. And I hope you agree that autonomous teams means easier teams and happier developers, right? So I think that is actually a really good byproduct of running things that way. So again, I don't think it sucks. It's hard for sure, but to get around it, you just need to think differently, right? The different mindset when you're working with microservices. Some of the things that you may want to think about, upfront, definitely invest time in defining your service boundaries. It's not easy. You're going to be wrong, but do it anyway. Data sharing, if you really look at it, you don't really have to share the entire model at the same time, right? So look at that carefully. And then last one is APIs, they're hard, version them, make sure they're backwards compatible. So as you know by now, I am a proponent of this. By sharing this stuff, hopefully you will kind of understand that it is hard. Don't give up, keep going. My contact info is up here. And I'd love to talk to you about it. And I made it. All right.
Well done, PK. Well done.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, my name is Patrick, and today I want to show a project that me and Will did last DjangoCon Europe, like a month ago, during the sprints. But yeah, just let me recap what we did. So I think in May, Anaconda released this cool tool. It's called PyScript, which allows you to run Python in the browser quite quickly. So you put a tag, and then you can run Python. And it's very nice. And Underdog is using a tool called Pyodite, which is a port of CPython to WebAssembly. WebAssembly technology that allows you to run kind of multiple languages on the browser. It's a bit complicated. I don't really understand how it works, but it's very cool. And there's been quite a few projects that have been using WebAssembly, especially in the Python world. So for example, there is Datasetted by Simon Willison, which is, it's a way to run dataset on the browser, so you don't have to install everything, which is really nice. I've been doing this also for a very cool library that I use quite often, which is called Diagrams. Allows you to create diagrams using this nice Python syntax, so you can do whatever you want and update the diagram here. I've done the same for Strawberry, which is a GraphQL library. I used to have a lot of bug reports, and this has been a good way to kind of test things without installing everything from scratch. So for example, here you can change the code and it should update. Now it's not updating for some reason, but I think that's fine. But yeah, we were just talking at the conference and say, oh, it would be cool to see if we can get this, working with Django. And, turns out it's possible. There's a bit of Axe running, but you can run a lot of things. You can run the migrations, you can run post requests, you can run, just persisting the data as well. So for example, here I just have a hello world page. If I want to change and I want to go to the home page, I can change it, updates very quickly. And you can see there is like this form with to-dos, so I can do talk at DjangoCon. I can update. This is doing a post request and it's saving. If I refresh, give a couple of seconds to load. It takes a bit of time at the beginning, but then once PyData is loaded, it should work. Hopefully this doesn't crash now. Let's see. Maybe the Wi-Fi is not going well. Ooh. There we go. Yeah, so it works. Saving the data. You can also do migration. So let's see if I can do this quickly. I don't have a way to run migration directly, so I'm doing this on the view, which is not ideal, but works. So this, it's running the migration files. Then I can, can run it like this. Runs the migration, and now you can see there is the data here as well. And yeah, that's it. There is a repo if you want to test this out. This kind of current version is on a pull request because I did a lot of changes. Hopefully, I'm going to merge it today or during the sprint. Yeah, if you want to, just try it out, and it could be a cool way to maybe test Django without installing everything. That's it. Thank you.
Yay. Okay, hello, I'm David. I'm going to talk to you about introducing an ML model to Django, or introducing Django to your ML model. And basically, I should say this, I didn't know very much about ML. I work at Read the Docs. I'm not really on social media that much. You can just email me. My background is in development. It is not in data science. So I've never built an ML model, didn't know that much about ML models, still kind of don't know that much about ML models. But I work mostly on advertising. So don't throw things at me, I'm nice, or I try to be. But that's sort of me. So as I scroll down, which I can't actually see. So basically, I Read the Docs, ads pay the bills at Read the Docs. That's the reality of the situation. We built a Django-powered ad server to power the ads at Read the Docs, and we wanted to do ads that respected your privacy rather than ads that just aren't yet illegal. So we built our own ad network. We do our own ad sales. And in the biz, this is contextually targeted ads. This means we target ads not to people. We target ads to the content where the ad is going to appear. So if you have a Django web page, you might see an ad related to Django. Makes sense? And advertisers will buy this. So this is sort of how it works. Now, so basically you have this situation where you have a web page and you want to figure out what is this web page about. You want to distill this web page down into its topics. What is this thing all about? And so you might take the Django documentation and say, oh, this is about Django and it's about Python and it's about backend web development and stuff like that. At first, we did something very naive. We just sort of counted keywords that appeared on web pages and stuff like that. And this worked OK, but as you get to lots of things, this doesn't scale very well. It doesn't perform very well. There's lots of false positives. How do you tell the difference between Django the musician and Django the web framework? So we decided to build an ML model for this. So we started with a library called Spacey, which is a Python library for text-based models. There are lots of things for other types of models. You should start with one of those. You can try this out at this link, actually. You can just sort of type in text. It was trained on high hundreds of documents that were manually classified from Read the Docs. And we just sort of said, okay, this web page is about data science, and this one's about, this, and this one's about this other thing. And eventually you get something that's pretty good. These ML models will just sort of figure out, hey, this is Django the musician. Actually, when we use Django, it's definitely not the musician. It's always developers, because we only do ads for developers. But you get the picture. It can sort of try to figure out these different things and figure out what this ad should be targeted towards. So you can actually give this a try, and if you put in hundreds of words, it will, and it's about developers, it will usually work. If you throw it something that is not about developers at all, it will probably be horribly confused. But you can at least try it. It's kind of interesting. My suggestion is to start very simple. We started with, again, I mentioned a library called Spacey, and Text-to-C is sort of a library to help out with pre and post processing for Spacey. basically you manually tag a bunch of data and you can train your data set and you will get a pip installable Python module that you can just load and run. It's kind of powerful. In this case, we're loading it in a pipeline rather than directly, but you can just sort of pre-process things, train your model, run it against some categories, and it will give you an output. So in 10 lines of code, you have something that vaguely works. Very cool. So this was very interesting and actually was much better than what we were doing before. We actually have ways to like measure how effective it is. I'm not saying it's the best it could be, but it's better than what we had before by a large margin. There's a lot of considerations if you're doing ML. Firstly, is ML appropriate to your problem? A very good like heuristic for this is if you are doing something that has a probabilistic outcome, ML might be great for this. So, you know, are you detecting, is this maybe fraud? Is this maybe about this? These kinds of problems, machine learning is typically pretty good at. Whether you should train your own model or use something off the shelf is another thing that you should consider. You know, we ended up training one. We started off the shelf. It got better when we trained our own. Be very careful with memory in this. You know, you're probably running 8 processes in GUnicorn or something like that. You know, when you start talking about high hundreds of megabytes or gigabytes of memory and you're forking 8 processes, it's a disaster. So be very careful. That is the end of my talk. It's dangerous. Here are some resources. Good luck. Sprinkle some ML into your Django.
Thank you, David.